What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry back with you guys here again on the Alabama Football Report. We are moving past last week's loss to Oklahoma. Now we are ready to, just take some of that frustration out on Eastern Illinois. It is Senior Day coming up this weekend, and weird kickoff time, by the way, for this ball game this weekend. It's going to be a 1 p.m. Central Time kickoff, so not something that we normally see here. Usually it's an 11 a.m. kickoff or a 2:30 kickoff Central Time, or, it could be a little bit later than that. But take note, it is a 1 p.m. Central Time kickoff here. And by the way, no spreads or total over-unders for this game, because this one could very well get out of hand against the Eastern Illinois Panthers here. By the way, that scoring offense and scoring defense ranks right there, that's per the FCS, not FBS ranks, by the way. So even versus, weaker opponents, this is just not a very good Eastern Illinois team at all. So hopefully Alabama can go out here and, just really put it on Eastern Illinois. I would expect nothing less from this Alabama team than to come back and put up a ton of points in this game. So if you guys want Alabama to bounce back in this game today, I need you guys to hit that hype button on today's video. Hype up the Crimson Tide. If you're watching on your phone right now, scroll to the right where it says comments. Just kind of scroll to the right. It's got that hype button right there. So if you want Alabama to bounce back from that loss versus Oklahoma, make sure you guys drop a hype on today's video. Now, I feel really bad for this Eastern Illinois team this weekend. Alabama dropped 73 points against Louisiana Monroe in Week 2 after losing to Florida State to open up the season. And I think they might do the exact same thing against the Panthers this weekend. They are 8-3 on the season. They are ranked 100th in the country in the FCS rankings and scoring offense. They are tied for 66 in scoring defense in the FCS. And there aren't even betting odds for this game. That's how bad I really do think this game is going to get. It very easily could look like that Bishop Sycamore versus IMG Academy debacle that we had a couple of years ago in high school football. I think, I am very worried about this Eastern Illinois team, especially the health of their team, because I'm sure this Alabama team is going to be very pissed off coming off of that loss versus Oklahoma this past weekend. I have a feeling, just like in the ULM game, you're probably going to see walk-on scoring touchdowns in the fourth quarter. That's just kind of how out of hand I see this game, end up probably is going to get this weekend. While I hope that Eastern Illinois doesn't get too banged up in this game, I really do hope that Alabama just shows no mercy this weekend. I'm always for that, joyless murder ball here. I want to see the Crimson Tide put up 100. And, that probably won't happen, but that's what I want to see in this game. So, like I said, this one could get out of hand. No total over-under betting odds, no spread betting odds for this game. So, let me know what you guys think. Predict the score to Alabama versus Eastern Illinois. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. All right, so Eastern Illinois, we'll just go over a couple of things before we get to what I want to see from the Crimson Tide this weekend. They have played two different quarterbacks in every single game so far this year. Both these guys have played 10 games. Connor Wolf hasn't necessarily, had the best season, especially throwing the football. Does also have one rushing touchdown, but really he's not the runner in terms of the quarterbacks here. It's going to be Cole LaCrue. By the way, that's a sweet name for a quarterback anyways, but, he's not really the throwing quarterback. He's the rushing quarterback, so I would assume you're still probably going to see both of these quarterbacks in this game this weekend. Charles Kellum is their lead running back right now. He's got 11 games, here for the Panthers, and, he's done an okay job, I guess. They give it to him a lot. He's got 177 carries for over 700 yards, but look, man, this Eastern Illinois team just does not have a lot to work on for this game. And coming around the corner here in just a little bit, we are going to talk about what I want to see from the Crimson Tide this weekend. But first, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks, and the weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks, by the way, one of my favorite things about them, they offer injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks will not count it as a loss. Now, this game, like I said, there are no odds for this game, so there's no Prize Picks lineups for this game either. So we're going to go with a professional game this weekend, starting off with an Alabama alumni here for the Ravens, Derrick Henry, going with a more than 86.5 rushing yards for him. Lamar Jackson going with the less than passing yards for him at 218.5, and then Tyrod Taylor going with the more than 181.5 passing yards. Prize Picks is the only app, by the way, that offers stacks, meaning that you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You want more on Josh Allen passing yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, you could do the same thing with any player out there. You could do it with Lamar Jackson this weekend as well. Guess what, guys? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. And by the way, on Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play where you get paid even if one of your picks misses. But if you want the biggest payouts, go with the power play. No matter how you play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link's going to be down in the comment section of today's show. It's also going to be down in the description of today's show as well. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Now, a couple of what to watch for the Crimson Tide this weekend. Number one, this could possibly be the return of Qua Russaw. He has not played since that Georgia game back in week 2 where he ended up breaking his foot, had to have surgery on that. And the expectation for Qua Russaw was that he was probably not going to be able to come back for Alabama until the end of the regular season. Probably wasn't going to see him all the way through the regular season. We were really hoping it was going to be that SEC championship game or, into the playoffs as well. But he was a true game time decision, according to Kane Womack's, what he said yesterday during his press conference. So, it's going to be very interesting to see if Qua Russaw does end up returning for Alabama this weekend. And I also want to see if he does return, is it going to be on a pitch count? I would assume it is probably going to be on a pitch count if we do end up seeing him. Maybe Alabama, chooses to, continue to rest him until that Iron Bowl. But I'm very excited to see Qua Russaw return to the lineup, whether it's this weekend or against Auburn. So I want to hear from you guys down inside the comment section. Will Qua Russaw return to the lineup this weekend? Let me know what you guys think. Type Y for yes or N for no down in the comment section of today's video. All right, what to watch for number 2? Obviously, it's got to be Alabama's run game. That's just been something that we have talked about a lot here. If you heard Jam Miller talk on the Tuesday press conferences, he took a lot of, the blame. And, especially, with Alabama's running backs about how bad this running game has been because the offensive line has gotten better. They've been, doing a lot of things on the offensive line, putting Wilkin-Formby at that right guard spot. I thought helped out a lot there. But I am excited to see what type of, lineups they go with this weekend. Who really gets the majority of the carries this weekend? Jam Miller just has not really been cutting it. Kevin Riley started off as kind of the lead running back at the beginning of the year when Jam Miller was out, but it really does seem like now Daniel Hill is the guy that's really coming alive here for Alabama's run game. He, I thought, had a really good game against Oklahoma. If you can have just another running back help you out a little bit more, this Alabama running attack could really take off. And I want to see A.K. Deer get some more run this weekend. He's only played in 2 games so far this year, so he can play the remainder of the games this season, no matter if Alabama goes to the SEC championship or into the college football playoffs. He can play the rest of the games and not have to burn his red shirt. So I want to see A.K. Deer get some more run in this game this weekend against Eastern Illinois. All right, make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. By the way, the game is on SEC Network Plus. So if you don't have SEC Network Plus, you can join us for our watch party live for every single Alabama football game. And by the way, today on Tuesday evening, college football playoff rankings are going to come out. So we're going to see where Alabama ends up dropping to on that, and we'll put a short out on that later on Tuesday evening. So if you're watching this after Tuesday and still don't know where Alabama's at, you can go back to the channel and check that out. All right, what to watch for number 3. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like talking about this because you got to play the game. It's something that Nick Saban was always pissed off about when, he was asked in the press conferences. He had that famous rant about how do you even know if the younger guys are going to get a chance to play in this game? Well, look, we're not Alabama media. We're not asking Keelon to bore these types of questions. I want to know who quarterback 2 is going to be for this game. Ty Simpson obviously is going to be your starter. Want to see him take care of the football a little bit better in this game in terms of those fumbles there. But I still do think Austin Mack is probably the number 2 quarterback for Alabama right now. But, a lot of people probably disagree with me on that. I think, they look past who you have as the quarterback 2 when you want to go to the next best thing, which would be Qua Russaw. And, just like you, I am very excited about Qua Russaw. And I do think that quarterback battle next season is going to be very exciting. And I'm not, saying Austin Mack is going to win the starting job next year. But, going back to last year, a lot of people, thought that, some of the younger quarterbacks were going to be there instead of Austin Mack and, Dylan Lonergan. A lot of people thought Austin Mack was going to be that quarterback 2, and like Dylan Lonergan was the guy that was going in for those quarterback 2 reps late in the season there. So I am, excited to see who is actually going to be quarterback 2 for Alabama this weekend. I want to hear from you guys, though, down inside the comment section. Obviously, it's Tuesday evening when we're putting this video out for you guys, so plenty of time to go until game day there. So who is actually quarterback 2 for this Alabama team right now? Type AM if you think it's going to be Austin Mack getting the reps with the 2s this weekend. If they're lucky enough to get there, I think they're going to. I think you're going to see all 3 of these quarterbacks this weekend. But let me know who quarterback 2 is, AM for Austin Mack or KR for Keelon Russaw. All right, what to watch for number 4. I want to see Alabama come out of this game injury-free. There is nothing worse than playing these types of cupcake games, whether it's early in the season or whether it's late in the season, and you come out of these games with some type of freak injury. Football is a very physical sport, and it does not matter who you're playing. You could always end up getting injured in these types of games. So I think it's going to be very, very important for Alabama to be able to get those starters in the game, get them some of those valuable reps there. But the only thing that I just do not want to see in this ball game this weekend is, one of your key players ends up getting hurt, because you got a lot more meaningful football to play after this game this weekend.